Okay, so I have seen comments of people thinking that I shouldn't worry about things like undocumented immigrants being put on the Social Security death master list, or that I shouldn't worry about citizens being deported because that hasn't happened yet. As if we should only worry about it once it starts happening, as opposed to, worrying about shit before it happens. Um, I saw on Pod Save America that one of the hosts thought that it was a bit much when women during the first Trump administration were dressing up in handmaids' gowns, in handmaids' robes, and how, it's never going to get this bad. I mean, he's going to do some bad shit, but it's not going to be that horrible. And fast forward, and it's as horrible as they say. So, yes, it might seem hyperbolic when people are concerned about the slippery slope. That does not mean that it will not happen. You need to trust when people see the writing on the wall. So, U.S. judge says 2-year-old apparently deported to Honduras with no meaningful process. And that's the other thing. If you're going to deport someone, fine. Go through the proper proceedings. Give them due process. That's all we ask, that they get due process. And not to mention, okay, so Trump has claimed that the only people they're going to get rid of are the hardened criminals. It's a 2-year-old. I mean, what hardened criminals are we talking about here? What did they do? Shit their diaper too much? Seriously, what the hell? All right. A Trump nominated federal judge in Louisiana said that a 2-year-old American citizen appears to have been deported with no meaningful process. This comes as the Trump administration has faced growing criticisms for its hurried proceedings to remove as many non citizens from the country as quickly as possible. And Trump's reasoning for this is we can't have trials for everybody. That would take too long. My response is that then hire more people for all the backlog so things can get done quicker. I was listening to Glenn Kirshner, and apparently the hearings that these people go through to decide whether they're going to be able to stay in the country is not a full-blown trial, so it wouldn't take that long anyway. U.S. District Judge Terry Daughtry wrote that the toddler, identified as VML, had been sent to Honduras on Friday alongside her mother and sister, even as the court has sought to clarify the girl's status. He set a hearing on the case for May 16th in the interest of dispelling our strong suspicion that the government just deported a U.S. citizen with no meaningful process. On Friday afternoon, Daughtry had called counsel for the federal government to try to speak with VML's mother and better understand the child's situation. But VML and her family were already above the Gulf of America, the judge wrote, using President Trump's preferred term for the Gulf of Mexico. The government contends that this is all okay because the mother wishes that the child be deported with her, Daughtry wrote. But the court doesn't know that. Exactly. And considering how the Trump administration has been lying about pretty much everything else, because let's face it, If you truly believed and you had evidence for someone committing a crime, or in this case, a mother's wish that her kid comes with her, then have a hearing. Put out the evidence. Why just whisk them off in the middle of the night? Because they don't actually have squat. I mean, they just want to get rid of brown people. According to a lawsuit filed on VML's behalf, she and her family were taken into U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody on Tuesday while attending a routine check-in with the mother's Intensive Supervision Appearance Program, or ISAP. ISAP is an alternative to detention for non-citizens who are in the country unlawfully. It is not immediately clear what was flagged during that meeting to trigger deportation proceedings for VML's mother and sister. Considering Trump's quota because he wants mass deportations, and by golly, he's going to get them whether these people deserve to be deported or not, there probably wasn't anything triggered, just the fact that they're brown. But according to a court petition, her father, who had dropped the trio off at the meeting, was informed about an hour after the start of the meeting that his partner and 2 daughters had been taken into custody. The suit alleges that ICE agents repeatedly refused to give VML's father her location and denied him the opportunity to speak for more than a minute to VML's mother. Yeah, because again, that's exactly what you do when it's a by the book deportation procedure as opposed to a kidnapping. VML's father received a call from an ICE officer who spoke to him for about a minute, the filing said. The officer said that VML's mother was there and that they did not have much time to speak to each other and that they were going to deport his partner and daughters. VML's father was able to speak with his partner for only about less than a minute. He heard his daughters crying and his partner crying, the filing said. Yeah, it doesn't sound like she wanted, that what they said is true, that she wanted her daughters deported with her. Because, well, she didn't want to get freaking deported. And the only reason she wasn't deported to El Salvador is because it's a men's only prison. According to the suit, at one point, VML's father tried to secure her release. New Orleans ICE Field Office Director Melissa Harper began interrogating the family's attorney. What? About the father's immigration status and attempted to lure him into custody as well. In an emailed statement to NPR, the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, which oversees ICE, defended its decision. Let's see. So, I'm not sure if this means that he has legal status or he doesn't. Because I don't believe a fucking thing that this administration says anymore. They could tell me the sky is blue and I would not believe it. Because they will say anything to justify what they're trying to do. And lure him into custody? Again, what's with the kidnapping shit? You do not lure people into custody. You take them into custody. The fact that this article is saying lure means that this person understands that they are kidnapping people. The parents made the decision to take the child with them to Honduras. Wait a minute, but only one parent's going to Honduras. What the hell? It is common that parents want to be removed with their children, said Tricia McLaughlin, DHS's Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs. Again, if both parents were going to Honduras, That, yes, I would expect that they would want their kids with them. But only one parent is being removed. The other one was unsuccessfully lured. The agency did not respond to further requests for comment as to why McLaughlin implied that both parents had supported VML's deportation to Honduras when her father ostensibly remains in the United States. VML is just the latest to be ensnared in the messy legal process as the Trump administration has rushed to remove as many undocumented immigrants as it can. And exactly, because Trump wanted to have mass deportations of hardened criminals because he believes the right wing bullshit that there are all these hardened criminals, hardened undocumented criminals. And because Trump believes that, when he saw that not many people were being deported because there weren't that many hardened criminals, because this isn't some new policy where, oh my God, maybe we should deport hardened criminals. This isn't new. This has been done. So, because he's not getting the mass deportations he wanted, ICE is now forced to deport other people. Those who probably don't deserve it. And then they have to lie about those people to justify what they're doing. And weak minded people will believe them. Last month, a Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, was illegally deported to El Salvador and sent to the notorious CCOT mega prison due to an administrative error. Now, after his representative Van Hollen came to El Salvador and demanded to see him, he was found to have been moved to a different detention center. So he's no longer in CCOT, ostensibly. I mean, it's possible that it was just for show, like those piss poor excuses for margaritas that were put in front of them to make it look like they were having a good time because, CCOT is just a pleasure prison. Anyway, so last we checked, he is no longer in CCOT. And Trump, because his administration desperately needs to prove that he is MS-13, which is what they're claiming, after they've been claiming it's an administrative error. You have to pick one, but whatever. They photoshopped MS-13 on his knuckles. And it was an obvious Photoshop, so yeah. So yeah, they're so desperate. If they put half the energy that they're putting in trying to smear an innocent man for their being shitty racists, and I mean they are shitty because they're racist, not that they are shitty in their racism. They're being perfectly good racists in that regard. But if they actually put half that energy into doing something decent and good, they might actually be doing a halfway decent job in running the country, but they're more interested in showing their racism and their hatred of anything that doesn't look like them, and apparently tattoos. What is it with the clocking people for wearing Chicago Bulls gear and specifically Michael Jordan tattoos? I mean, come on. What the heck? Who hates the Bulls? Who hates Michael Jordan? Oh, Isaiah Thomas. But still, what the heck that you're using that as a framework to get rid of people? It's just beyond absurd. So, and of course they're starting in this regards because, oh, it's, possibly both parents are undocumented, so why should I worry? You should worry because if they're willing to do that and put in so much energy into lying about why someone's being deported and who's being deported, then they're willing to grab anybody. So, and don't think I'm starting to wonder if white people are even safe because he's gone after Columbia University, he's gone after Harvard. So, just being white is no longer safe. You have to be ideologically pure. You have to just bow down and kiss the ass of Trump. Because unless you show unwavering love for him, you are in danger. So, anyway, that is the end of that article from NPR. So, I believe that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.